Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Learn with Adeesha. My name's Adeesha, and I'll be the person who's walking you through this lesson. Now, you might be wondering what all these lines with arrows and letters, which are just one name long, are, and, well, I'll tell them, obviously. I'll tell you what they are, but first, thanks for watching, and leave a like if you'd like to see more of this. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see, you know, more. And check out our social medias and give us some ideas on what to, well, teach. If you want to see your topic and your name, yes, your name, featured in these very videos. So, thanks for watching, and now that we've put that aside, let's begin with the lesson. These sticks, or lines as we call them in math, are vectors. They have two main things that make them what they are. First of all, they have a magnitude, which is how big they are. If it's very big, that means it's just a very long line. But if they're small, like this A vector here, as you can see highlighted by my cursor, it's not a very big vessel. But, I mean, vector. But over here, we have 2A. Now, if you're wondering what this 2 means, think back to your algebra lessons. This is very basic. If you have a variable a, doubling it will give you 2a. And same concept applies here. 2a is just double the length of vector a. It's not double the speed or anything because vectors don't have speed. They only show direction and magnitude. Anyhow, we'll move on to the second and final basic topic about vectors. Column vectors will be covered in a future video, okay? So stick around, stay patient, and we'll cover them later. So, we have a triangle made of vectors. Vector D leading from this point, which we'll call A, which I'll just label right now. Okay, we'll call this point A, and we'll call this point C. Now this point we'll be calling B. Got it? So vector B leads us from point A to point B. Vector C leads us from point B to point C. Vector D, though, leads us directly from point A to point C. Now, how would we denote a vector if we only knew the 2 points it connected, but we did not know the name of the vector itself? Now, I'll show you. We denote vector D, which connects points A and C, with it's going from A to C, not C to A. So we denote it as AC. The order of the points matters. The starting point is going to be on the left. The ending point is going to be on the right. Remember that. So what we're going to do now is draw a line or an arrow. This arrow's direction should tell us where the vector is going. Now we can say that vector AC equals vector D. Now, if you're only showing the vector's name, you do not need the arrow, you just need the name. Now I'll be showing you vector addition. Now this is a very, very simple concept. Do not get this very confused because it's kind of basic in vectors. But in column vectors, it gets a bit more advanced, but I'm sure you all can handle it. You all are super smart. So we've got a vector D, and now we have to find out what it's equal to. Now, since vectors B and C do some part of the job that vector D does, vector B leading from A to B, C leading from B to C. Got it? We're just going to say that vector D does the equivalent job or equals to of B and C. This just says that vector D leads from the same start point and same end point as vectors B and C combined. If you took the path that vector B and C shows, you'd be going from A to B to C. In total, you'd be going from A to C. But with vector D, you go directly from A to C. Even though D is shorter, we would usually say that vector D and vectors B and C combined are the same. This is why we say that vector D equals vector B plus C. In this example, this is not applicable for everything. Okay. Anyways, now we'll move on to negative vectors. Now, if you're taking a vector such as this one, which we'll call, let's say X. I know that this doesn't look like an X, it's just an algebraic X, okay? So stick with it. Anyways, this is vector X. Now, if we write a vector that's the same length, none of this is drawn accurately, okay? So do not chastise me in the comments. If we take a vector that's the same distance as X, I know this is the same distance. Okay, that should be enough. If we take a vector that's the same distance as X, now if we reverse the direction, we'd get a vector that we call minus X. Minus. Okay? Minus X. That's minus only means reverse the direction. So if the vector will be going this way, the reverse vector would be going this way in the exact same length. Understand? Good. Now let's look at an example. We have this triangle. Now I'll label the points again as A, B, and C. Again, we're sticking with the same points for simplicity. Now vector E goes from A to B, but vector F doesn't like to play nice and instead of going from B to C, goes from C to B. So we can't say that vector E, so we can't say that vector G equals vector E plus F. We can't say that, unfortunately. Sorry, people, but there's a different way to do this. If we can't make, if we can't have vector F play nicely normally, we're just gonna have to make a version of vector F that makes it play nicely. And what version is that? Think back to these concepts over here. Now, vector X and vector minus X have one thing in common. They have the same length, but vector minus X is just vector X with a different direction. In fact, the opposite direction. Now, to keep it simple, we're just going to say that vector F follows the same rules as vector X, which it indeed does. And in fact, every single thing follows the vector rules that I have mentioned here. Anyways, vector F doesn't want to go from B to C, instead goes from C to B, but vector minus F, sorry for the bad handwriting, vector minus F will reverse this and instead go this way, which is the direction that we want. So instead of saying that vector G equals E plus F, we'd say that vector G equals E minus F instead. Got it? Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you have an amazing day. Please like, subscribe, and comment to increase this video's likelihood of getting to your friends and family and enriching their minds with knowledge. See you later, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is Learn with Adeesha, and I'm out. Goodbye.